This is Singles Exchange. Let's talk, let's hang. This is Singles Exchange. Singles Exchange.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to Singles Exchange, a podcast that focuses on conversations, connections, and community. As always, I am your host, Joy J, and I am super excited about this episode. I think this one is going to be fun and lighthearted. But before we jump into all that, you know the drill if you're a frequent exchanger. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Singles Exchange on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on whatever your podcast streaming platform is. So whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, whatever your flavor, honey. Just subscribe because you don't want to miss all that is happening. And there's a lot happening. I know that we're still dealing with the pandemic, but following the CDC guidelines, we're doing what we're allowed to do. And we do have a big in-person event coming up. And I know you guys are like, okay, Joy, you've been hinting at this thing for weeks. When are we going to get the info? Well, guess what? You got to wait 2 more days. Just two. I promise I'm not going to make you guys wait any longer than that. Y'all know I have to do something big for my birthday. I am a person that loves birthdays. I enjoy celebrating my birthday, but I am also a giver. So my way of celebrating my birthday is to do something for y'all. So if you're listening, be sure to check the Singles Exchange Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or website on my birthday, August 26th at 10 a.m. I scheduled it for 10 a.m. So at 10 a.m., be sure to check any of the Singles Exchange platforms and you will find out all about this amazing event. What I can tell you currently is the event is taking place on October 9th, and it is a black tie affair. We want to see you in your finest. We want you to get dressed up and come and hang out with us. But any more details than that, you'll get them on Thursday, August 26th, 2021 at promptly 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. So the wait is almost over, y'all, and I promise y'all it's worth the wait. The staff and I have been planning this for months. When I say literal months, we've been planning this since like the spring. So it's gonna be good, y'all, and I am excited for it. But enough about that. We're gonna hop into this podcast episode. This may or may not be a super long episode, but that's okay too. I just want to invite you guys to some of the thought processes that we as a staff go through. So we had a staff meeting recently, and we were talking about different types of content, different perspectives that we could bring to you guys, just to share our experiences. For those of us, I am clearly one of the single staff members, but we have some staff members that are not single. And we want to just provide new perspectives and new thought patterns. So in our last meeting, we talked about what is a crush versus what is an attraction. And we kind of got into a little debate about it. It was really good. So I wanted to bring that to you guys, talking about what's a crush when you have a crush on somebody versus you actually being attracted to somebody. But I want to put my own spin on it. So if you really know me, you know that I am an elementary school secretary. I am recording this the evening after the first day of work. So when I say I'm dog tired, I mean it. But I think it's too good of a set of content not to share. So I'm gonna give you guys what is a crush versus what is an attraction, and I'm gonna do it the back to school edition. Okay. So before I hop into that, I want to let y'all know something. Okay. I told y'all I'm an elementary school secretary. Today wore me out. Okay. I'm gonna give y'all my little 2 minute speech, maybe less than 2 minutes. I'm gonna hop off my soapbox. Today wore me out. If you have never been in the inner workings of an elementary school or any school, but definitely an elementary school, um, in the first like week or 2 weeks of school, it's a madhouse. When I tell y'all we had a kid, she asked him, what's your name, sweetheart? And he was like, my name is Sonic the Hedgehog. What? And so she like, no, like, what's your real name? What does your mom call you? And he was like, Sonic. Duh, like she the problem. And then you always got the criers. I was the kid that cried at school. I don't know if y'all were that kid, but I was a kid that cried like the first week of school. It was just a new environment. It wasn't where I wanted to be. I wasn't feeling it. And we had quite a few of them today. I literally had to pick one little girl up and walk her back to her class. And when we got there, I had to pry her off of me. Whole ordeal, y'all. But I love what I do. I love working in the school system. So a lot of times you'll see things throughout Singles Exchange that have a school theme. And it's just because I love education and I love what I do. But with that being said, back to our original topic. So before I hop into all my little stories that I want to give you guys, um, we're talking about a crush versus attraction. So when I started to write out this content, I was like, well, what is a crush? Like, what is just having a crush on somebody? And what I came up with, and y'all know I'm always looking at my notes, but I got them on the phone today. They're not written down. I'm a step ahead. But to me, I said a crush is somebody that you really don't know that well. Maybe you just had a couple of run-ins with them, like um you may know their name and little pieces of info about them, but you don't really know them. You just know what they look like and you kind of know their demeanor and how they carry themselves. But I think that even that is skewed. And I actually have two examples of this, one that I wrote down and one that I didn't. And they both from work. So here's my first one. I have worked at the place where I work now for several years. And in that time, I have had two work crushes. Now, one was somebody that worked in the district. And for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to call him my little doo-wop. My best friend will know exactly what that means, but I'm going to just call him my little doo-wop. So, my little doo-wop, y'all know my name is Joy. I said that earlier. When I very first met him, I was still subbing. I wasn't a full-time secretary, I was subbing. And I was at a one particular building in the district for like a few days at a time. Like if somebody had taken a vacation or something. So I was subbing for a few days there. So one morning, my little doo-wop walked past the desk and he spoke, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. The next day, I was running late. I was like 5 minutes late. So when he finally came back by the desk at lunchtime, he was like, oh, I'm so glad to see you. I thought you were out today. And I was sad, but now I see you here, and that gave me a little joy. And I was like, are you trying to flirt with me, sir? Mr. Man, you trying to flirt. And I was here for it because he was cute. So and that went on for a while. We very casually flirted whenever we saw each other. We never worked in the same building per se. So that just kind of went on for a while. And then I moved on with my life. It was a crush. It was a very casual thing. I thought he was handsome. He thought I was pretty. Well, I am pretty, but it was a very casual flirt. And we just kind of moved on with our lives. We never really took it any further. We didn't exchange numbers or get to know each other or anything. So that was that. There was another instance at work where I told you guys I work in an office. So of course we work with a lot of companies to bring in office supplies. So one of our constant delivery people, he was handsome. He was a handsome guy. He would always come in and like have real conversation with me. It wasn't just like a here, sign this paper and here go your boxes and leave me alone. It was always like oh, I like your nail color today, or hey, I like your hair today. Oh, you got new glasses. Like he was very mindful. He paid attention. And for us to have very short exchanges, I was like, okay, this man is actually paying attention. Like he might really be interested. But again, although I definitely knew he was interested, I still feel like it was just a crush. I knew his first name, I knew where he worked, and I knew that he was very attentive to detail. But that was it. I didn't know a whole lot of details about his personal life. I didn't know a lot about his character traits because we only had those short exchanges. Sidebar, my boss, I just fussed at her about this today. She used to embarrass me so bad. Y'all, that man would come in there and she'd be screaming and hollering from the desk, like, you need to ask him if he's single. It was real. She embarrassed me. Don't y'all be that person, okay? If y'all got a single friend, don't embarrass them, okay? Ask them if they okay with saying stuff like that in public. But yeah, I feel like he was just a crush. I feel like I can't even say I was attracted to him, quote unquote, because what could I say that well, I guess I could say I was. I don't know. What could I really say that I was attracted to him? And I guess that's my difference. That's the difference for me between a crush and an attraction. The difference for me is if I say I'm attracted to somebody other than their looks, what can I honestly say that I'm attracted to? If I can't really give any viable answers, then you're probably just a crush. If I can't say I like how attentive he is to detail, or I like how he is kind. If I don't know anything about you, what can I really say that I'm attracted to other than the way that you look? And for me, looks are only important to a certain extent. Yes, I want you to look presentable at all times. I think we all have our preferences when it comes to physical features, but that's not the end all be all. If you have every physical feature that I like and you a trash human, I still don't want you. So I'm not even gonna hop into that. Not today, maybe another day. But yeah. So like I said, this is the back to school edition and we're talking about crushes versus attractions. So I'm gonna tell you guys about some crushes that I had, not at work, but actually when I was a student at school, versus some attractions that I had. And I hope you guys enjoy because this is just me, kind of walking through my thought process on crushes versus attractions with you guys. I hope you will hop on Facebook and, talk to me and tell me how you like it. Tell me if you had some similar experiences. So I'm gonna start with my very first crush. And I'm gonna give y'all some tea, okay? The first time that I feel like I had a crush on a guy, I was in kindergarten. I was literally 5 years old, had just turned 5 years old. And I had this crush, quote unquote, on this boy. I liked this boy. And it's been so long now, I can't really tell you if it was like a peer pressure thing. I do remember the other girls in the class asking, like, well, who do you like? Well, who do you like? But I honestly can't remember if I felt like peer pressured into just picking a boy in the class that I like, or if it was like an internal pressure. I don't know. But I had a crush on this guy. Um, I don't use real names here, so we're gonna call him AJ. And no, that's not his initials either. That's just a random name I picked. So I had this crush on AJ, okay? And I was telling my cousin who was in a class with me, I was telling her that I like this boy. I like this boy in our class. I like AJ. And she was like, well, why? And I was like, because I liked his sweater. His sweater, I love the color of his sweater. He had this like royal blue sweater. And it just, I don't know, it caught my eye. And she was like, well, that's it. And I was like, yeah, like, I don't. He light skinned and he got a big head. I just like his sweater. Like that was literally my response. Cousin, if you remember that, please text me. Cause yeah. But that was the real thing. And of course, that was just a crush. I didn't know anything about that boy except that he had a big head and he was light skinned and he had some thick glasses and he had a nice color sweater, something that he couldn't even control. I'm sure his mama bought him that sweater and made him put it on. He might not even like the daggone sweater. Craziness, okay? But that was my crush. That was my very first crush. And that lasted all of 3 days and then I was over it, okay? Um, so then that was kindergarten. And we moved on up a little bit. So we got to seventh grade. Now, at this point, I definitely feel like around somewhere around fifth or sixth grade, I started to feel this like peer pressure to like somebody, you know? Hormones kick in. People will try to make it seem like these kids now hormones kick in way earlier, but I just don't think that's true. I know for me, I had, some peer pressure and I honestly felt maybe a little tingle of a crush towards a guy in fifth grade. I know for sure that was a thing. So people can say what they want. Your hormones start happening when they start happening. Ain't nothing you can do to stop or start it. But around fifth and sixth grade was when a lot of the girls in our class started to like boys. And there were boys that I thought were cute, but I couldn't really say like, oh, I liked him. For one, everybody liked the cute boys. And literally it would be like there was this one guy, I'm gonna call him Martin. And all the girls had a crush on Martin, okay? Every single girl was like, oh, Martin's so fine. He is, see that, his waves so, his waves seasick. Like, y'all know how we talk back in the 90s and early 2000s. Everybody liked Martin. And don't get me wrong, Martin was a nice looking guy. But um, I couldn't say I really had a crush on him. Y'all, I want him. I don't want what everybody want. Give me something else. So that was that. So around seventh grade, a guy who was in eighth grade started to pass me little notes in the hallway. He started to talk to me more at lunch, and little stuff like that started to happen. And to me, I think that was another crush, but leaning more towards attraction. So this was seventh grade, and he is what I would call my first real boyfriend, quote unquote. And I use that term very loosely. I'm gonna tell y'all why in a minute. We're gonna use his code name gonna be Eric. I had to write down some of these code names so I wouldn't forget. So Eric was my first real boyfriend. What I mean by that is he was the first boy in my life that literally asked me to be his girlfriend, that told other people that I was his girlfriend, that treated me like his girlfriend, question mark, because what do you really do in seventh grade? With him, we talked on the phone. We talked on the phone a lot. We didn't hold hands. We didn't kiss. We didn't even hug. We talked on the phone. We didn't sit by each other at school or nothing. We weren't in the same class. So, like, he was my boyfriend, and that it actually, to me, it lasted a while, but in retrospect, it was probably like a couple weeks. Nonetheless, he was my boyfriend, and I was just happy to have a boyfriend. Because y'all know when we start to feel that peer pressure, and we like, dang, everybody got a boyfriend but me, or everybody done dated at least one person but me. So I was so geeked to have this first boyfriend, and honestly, I wasn't even comfortable with having a boyfriend. Like I said, we didn't hold hands, we didn't kiss, we didn't do none of that because I wasn't comfortable with it. Um, I vividly remember this. My cousin may remember this as well because she and I went to school together, literally kindergarten through the end of high school. But I vividly remember Eric, code name Eric. writing me a letter. And I found that letter a few years later when I was in high school, and it cracked me up. And the letter said, "Dear Joy, I love having you as my girlfriend, and I want to rock your boat, but you told me that I can't rock your boat until we marry, so I will wait, but I look forward to that day. Love, Eric." And I was like, "You want to touch me? Ew." I didn't even fully understand sex back then, so I wasn't down for it. But clearly I was raised in a nice, pleasant Christian household because that boy knew I'm not going. And you can stop asking because I said what I said. um, so that was that. That was seventh grade. Eighth grade. Um, don't judge me, okay? I don't want to be judged for this. And I feel like y'all don't judge me, but it's okay. I don't want to be judged, but if y'all do, that's y'all prerogative. So in eighth grade, I dated one of Eric's friends. Okay, listen, they had graduated. They had went to high school. They weren't at the school anymore. I was in eighth grade. He was in ninth grade, and Eric was okay with it. Like he wasn't bothered by it. And friend, we gonna call him Marcus. Marcus wasn't bothered by it either. Okay, Marcus, not Martin. Please don't confuse Marcus with Martin. Two different people. But eighth grade was when I dated Marcus, and I dated him for a few months. I feel like he was my honest, real attraction. He wasn't just a crush. We had things in common. We enjoyed similar movies. We had similar goals for the future, which of course back then it was like I want to go to college. I want to buy a house at 25. Like it was real basic goals, but we did have similarities. There were things that I can honestly list out and say that I liked about him, even the way that he looked. Um, he is the closest thing to what my friends would consider my type now. I still don't think I have a type, but I do have a preference. And he is definitely the closest to what my current type slash preference is. So yeah, I think he was my first actual attraction. We enjoyed spending time together. Um, and I enjoyed talking to him. I enjoyed being around him, and I held his hand. I gave him some hugs. I had a different feeling than I had towards any other guy, and so I think that made it different. He was also my first kiss. I'm pretty sure I told you guys that story in another podcast, but I'm just give y'all a brief synopsis. Right before no, it was right after we broke up. I don't even think we were together at that point, but we were still talking. We went to the movies, and he had been talking about kissing me. And y'all know that's like the thing. My first kiss. Oh my God. I was getting ready to be a freshman at that point. So I was going into high school. And that man kissed me. We had went to the movies, and he kissed me before my daddy picked me up. And that night we got on the phone, and he told me that was the worst kiss he ever had in his life. I was so embarrassed. So yeah, that didn't end well. But he was my first real attraction. Um my next real relationship, and oh, I'm almost at my time mark. But anyway, um the next quote unquote real relationship that I had was in high school. And it was actually not even, we didn't go to the same school. We met online, and we started talking. We ended up meeting in person. And it's so funny because that was back in a time where a lot of people were still skeptical of like meeting people online, and they was like, it's serial killers and rapists and murderers out there online, which there are, but you know, they also in real life. They also out here walking around. So nonetheless, I met this guy online, and it was an attraction. Like we had that typical teenage love affair where you talk on the phone all night, and I'm a date myself a little bit with this one, but we had that love affair where you talk till the house phone died, till the cordless phone died, and then you switch phones, and when they got on the phone, they had the cord on it so you could talk longer. until 9 o'clock when you get on your cell phone because you had free nights and weekends. Okay. That was that summer. And that was a whirlwind typical teenage romance. When I tell y'all, I don't even know what we talked about on the phone for that long. Just be on the phone for a literal 12 hours a day. Why? Why are we doing this? What are we talking about? But back then, it was everything, okay? I was so in love, or so I thought. I vividly remember telling him, like, when we get married, I'm gonna buy you a Persian tiger, and you gonna buy me a blue diamond because I don't like pink. So I don't want a pink diamond. I want a blue diamond. And just at the at the time, my favorite color was brown. Clearly, I didn't want no brown diamond. So yeah, I as corny as it was, I do think that he and I shared a genuine attraction. Again, we liked each other. We liked the way that the other looked. We enjoyed conversation with each other. We had things in common. When somebody asked me, why do you like this guy? And I'm gonna call him Lamont. When somebody asked me, why do you like Lamont? I could list reasons. I like him because, and also because, and also because, and there was legitimacy in it. As childish as it was, I had actual reasons. Um, yeah, he even came to my job one time. Y'all know how you get that first job that's not a real job. It's just like your auntie or your family member paying you under the table to come and sweep up some hair or something. So I had a something like a family member, not a biological family member, but someone who I considered a family member who owned a daycare, and she let me come and like assist at the daycare because she had a daughter my age, which really just mean that we hung out together and we put the kids snacks on the tables and took them for nature walks, and then went outside during their nap time and talked to boys. And that boy came up there during nap time one day, y'all. I'm fast. I was fast back then. I ain't fast now. Let me change that. I was fast, but yeah, I had a real attraction to dude. So yeah, I honestly think that those later two were attractions because I grew up. I was older. I understood better um what the difference between a crush and an attraction was. I could go further into my college relationships, but that's I'm gonna have to do a separate podcast for my college relationships. And yeah, we'll do a separate one for that later. So anyway, um that's really all I got, y'all. I know that this is not a super like pivotal, powerful, empowering moment, but I just wanted to share my thoughts. That's how I feel about crushes versus attraction. And I wanted you guys to kind of walk through that process with me. So if you listen through to the end, I want you to do me a favor. Go to Facebook, hop on the post. The post will be up about this particular podcast Tuesday, August 24th, also at 10 a.m. I like to do things at 10 a.m. You know what? I should probably stop doing things at 10 a.m. because that's my busiest time at work. Nonetheless, this is going to go up at 10 a.m. Hop on that post and talk to me. Tell me how y'all feeling. Tell me about y'all very first crush or y'all very first attraction. I want to hear from you guys. Again, be on the lookout for the information for the October 9th event. It will be posted this week. The video is already scheduled and ready to go on everything. It will literally launch on everything on Thursday. I know my voice is going out, but that's okay. I love y'all. I am so looking forward to the next few months. We have a new series coming up in October that we've been working on. I'm really excited about that. Um, what else? I'm actually very excited for the 2 September podcast as well. I'll give you guys a sneak peek in September. On the podcast, we'll be talking about dating a daddy's girl versus dating a mama's boy. And you don't want to miss it. Okay. It's gonna be good. We'll also have a couple of ads featured because we have this event coming up and we have some businesses that have chosen to sponsor this event. and we want to shout them out. We want to show them some love. So I am really excited. I'm thanking y'all again for hanging in there with me. I know the last few months have been rocky with this podcast, but I promise y'all it's gonna be so worth it. It's going to be so worth it. So again, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Singles Exchange on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and whatever your podcast streaming platform is. And I will talk to y'all soon. Let's exchange.